part. But, yeah, so thoughts on preschools this year?
Hi everyone, Justin here. I really enjoyed the carrot crunch. My carrots did really well this year or last year, and I was planning on doing the same thing this year. The amount of carrots, I definitely could have kept going another month maybe after the whole thing stopped with the carrots. But I think for me, I'll probably stick with the carrots. I really liked that one.
Your carrots were gorgeous, Justin. We took so many pictures of your carrots. And yours have green, and the kids love the greens. So your greens weren't brown. I know some people's greens got really browned, but yours looked really good.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would also like to try the, what was the peas one? The
the give peas a chance.
Yeah, for up here, that would be more of a spring thing, I guess. For
like
us.
May or June?
Yeah, I guess. Let's see if I get March, April. Yeah, I guess so, like June or something.
And Justin, I'm really glad you said that, because the principal at the Hennes Pueblo Head Start, she's really excited about healthy eating. We've had a couple conversations, and she said personally, like, she really changed her diet and has seen like great health results, and so she's very big on getting vegetables to the Hennes Pueblo kids. So it would be awesome to have you like deliver peas and carrots to that. I mean, not just that one, to lots of Head Starts, but definitely the Hennes Pueblo one.
Right, cool. Yeah, I'm on board.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say I would be on board for the carrots and the peas.
Nice.
Possibly the cherry tomatoes, because I've been doing a lot of soil development. My son loves the sugar snap peas, so that is going in there without saying. And I think down here probably into April, May for the sugar snap peas would be when they're ready, because our weather over here, it's from what I've been noticing from the nature around me, is that spring is going to be coming early. And I think we could get those out probably into April, early May down here. And then the carrots, I have some seed left over from the seed I collected from my old field, and it would be, they want the orange ones, right?
Well, this is a great question, Ruben. You had beautiful orange, purple, yellow ones a couple years ago.
Yeah, I got the purple and the white.
Beautiful ones. Oh yeah, it was purple, white, orange. So here's the funny thing. Some of the schools were like, don't ever give us purple carrots again. The kids fought over purple. We didn't have enough purple. And then another school was like, why did you give us all orange? We told the kids that carrots come in different colors. So we have to just find what school's the right match, but you should definitely grow purple and white, because there's some schools that want that. And then there's some schools that were like, this is too much of a conflict.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things is purple is heirloom color for vegetables. That's like the truest expression of nature in these plants, is the purple.
Nice.
It's funny because the king of England had them change the carrots orange because he wanted orange carrots.
That's funny, and now we still do it.
Yeah.
You know, and there were a few teachers who suggested that we try sweet potatoes. And this would definitely be like a very nascent idea. We'd have to get funding and things to develop it, but I know, Matthew, you do a lot of sweet potatoes and purple sweet potatoes. That would be like a fall, August, do you think? Or September?
We harvest the sweet potatoes in October.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we do end of September too.
Yeah, end of September.
Same up here in Jemez.
Okay, wow.
And you'd have to figure out how to get the sweet potatoes cooked.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
A lot of classrooms.
Potato crunch, but honestly, I haven't.
It'll definitely crunch.
The sweet potato squish.
Squish? Oh, that's a good one.
A lot of classrooms there's either like a lot of the starts either have a kitchen on the premises
Mm.
or there's a stove in the classroom. So we would definitely have to like suss out which
Yeah.
would be a match.
And if we could get the schools to buy it regularly and just include it on their menu, like we're looking at what their menus look like, and there's a lot of vegetables you grow that they're buying from like Cisco or Walmart, right? But we can buy it from you.
Yeah.
Fidel,
What
do you-
about,
Okay.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Um,
Justin.
What about, since a lot of people had cucumbers last
Mm.
harvest, what if we do something cucumber?
I love cucumbers, and so does my daughter. Do your kids
Yeah.
like cucumbers? That's a great one.
I love that idea. That's like a thing that we have so much of too when we got them.
Yeah, same here.
Really? Okay, so what time of year do you feel like your cucumbers are?
August to September.
August,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I would second that. August, September, up till the frost.
Yeah,
And then it's just a matter of
all the way to the frost.
yeah, the cook would just have to slice them up and just like little, for the kids, because we wouldn't give them a whole cucumber.
Put some salt and chile on there. Dang, that'd be
I
good.
know. Yeah, that would be good. I like the idea of trying another vegetable. So I'm hearing sweet potatoes or cucumbers.
Yeah, as far as that, our farm, I mean, we grow all those things: peas, carrots, cherry tomatoes, and I think we did all of them last year too. And I'm just here, and I thought the timing was really good for the ones that y'all did last year as well.
You know,
Like
I'm
that
glad you,
worked out. Like the pea timing, whenever that was, I barely remember.
yeah, I'm really glad you brought up
It's at the
timing though,
sweet
Casey.
spot.
Yeah.
Same thing with the carrots.
Yeah, the timing is tricky with the schools. So like that's what's
What
hard.
about it?
So the schools are not year round. So like, for example, Angelina, remind me which ones, there's one that ends May 5th. Is that the Head Starts? That
Mm.
So
ends?
the Head Starts for 4-year-olds end May 5th. The early Head Start for like birth to 3, depending on the school, goes year round. And then the City of Albuquerque pre-Ks, which they're not restricted to just low income kids. They are almost year round. I think they take like July off maybe.
So we just have to line up like when you think you'll be harvesting to make sure that the schools are not on break, because there are those breaks that happen in May and then July. And
Yeah, I could look at
my
my harvest vlog later because we planted them on Thursday, and that's like the day we always plant them. So should be probably along the same timeline. I don't know if others have those records, but it takes like, a solid 90 days typically or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember peas coming in between May 15th and June 10th ish. And yeah, I mean, I like the setup you did last year with the peas and then the tomatoes and then the carrots. Because then you have a campaign about every 2 months, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, and we grow a lot of all three of those things, and have them ready for May and then for August and then for October. But I mean, why not do more? I guess my question is, what would it look like to try and get regular deliveries of produce to these preschools? Because you're talking about the small quantities,
right?
And so it seems like the biggest challenge is to aggregate and then disaggregate.
You're right. So I did talk to Debbie Lopez about that. So some of the good news is, rather than having to deliver to each individual Head Start or preschool, which is what we do right now at AFSC, and Justin has helped us with deliveries, there is a central place for a few of them. So like the South Valley Head Starts, there is one place that we can take the vegetables if it was to go on the regular menu of like all of those Head Starts. And then once a week, those cooks for those individual Head Starts go to that building and pick up the food. So that's good news. So we wouldn't be making a bunch of little deliveries. It would be like, there's one, it's actually near Fidel, your farm at First Choice. There's a Head Start over there near the First Choice Clinic. They're the ones that like aggregate all of the deliveries of food. So you would go there to drop off, but you would be selling to the whole cluster of South Valley Head Starts. So that is the good news, is that you get a little bigger order with one delivery. So we are kind of checking into that. And then we're also looking at like what the menu is to see, because sometimes of course they're offering food that's not seasonal. So like when they're offering the food is not when your food is ready. So that's when we'd have to try to line it up with the season. Because again, they're buying it from like big distributors.
And there's funding to pay the prices that we're asking?
That's the other question. No, I don't know if there is, but there was funding that passed in the state legislature that I hope will get you a better price. Because right now the way AFSC is paying you is through private foundation money. Like Marty is the evaluator for the Kellogg grant, so we're using Kellogg funding. So I don't know what kind of price we can try to negotiate, but I think it's going to be the same price as like New Mexico grown, which is a little better than like what you would get if it was just the cheapest price that the schools pay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know sometimes there was a legal issue. It may not be there anymore for the public schools, but where they had to take the cheapest price regardless. This was one of the issues with trying to sell to public schools, was that there was, we had to go in at the same price that Cisco was offering, because legally, the public schools couldn't pay a higher price if there was a cheaper option. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's an issue too or not, but
I will find out more about that. I have another meeting scheduled with them, but I'm really concerned about you all getting a fair price because you just can't compete against Walmart and Cisco. And it's just not right. That's not the food system that we want.
Right.
But for the healthy food campaigns, we're going to try to keep fundraising for those so that we can pay you the price that you're asking. It's the regular sales to schools that I think that's going to be the sticky point, is going to be the price. Yeah. Other thoughts on the campaign? So I'm hearing folks that like they do like, there's, all of you have said, I haven't heard too much from Fidel, but it sounds like, carrots, the peas, the tomatoes all worked out pretty well last year for a lot of you, or you'd be willing to do some of those again, and then possibly trying out some new ones.
Yeah, that sounds great. My son goes to Springstone Montessori, and I don't know if they do Cisco, or they use one of those food supply companies. And I'm wondering how to incorporate, because it's an ECE school.
Right.
And how do I go about getting his school involved? What steps could I take to incorporate his school?
That's a great idea, Ruben. It's always fun when we can link with schools that your kids go to. So we could follow up with you about that. It might be as simple as for the healthy food campaigns, just sending them registration links once we have the dates, or if you want to talk to them in advance, but we'll definitely follow up with you about Springstone.
Yeah, I could talk to the director.
Okay.
And ask her if she's interested in, incorporating this into the school. I think it's very important for these kids to know where their food comes from and the quality of their food as well.
So that leads me to another request the teachers have that I wanted to check by you all. We couldn't do it during COVID, but they would love to have farmers come to the classroom and talk to the kids. I know Fidel has done that with his son's school. But would
I want that. Yeah.
You want that? Okay. And Justin, I don't know if
you'd
you'd be willing. Yeah. Matthew, you've got kids, and Ruben, if you could talk to your son's class, but they are always asking if a farmer could come. Fidel, do you want to share what that was like when you spoke to your son's class?
That was nice. The kids liked it, and it was really good to see their faces, and they also have questions. It's not just about us telling them something new to learn, but it's also to hear what they ask. So that was a nice experience. If you guys want to do it.
You said they asked you some hard questions too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So that's something that, if it's COVID safe and you're willing, we could make as part of the registration. So let's say for 2022, just to throw it out there, kind of a draft, like let's say we do the Give Peas a Chance in the spring. And I'm hearing that could be like late April, May for Albuquerque. I'm hearing from Justin, it could be like May, June. But as part of the registration, and when they sign up, like, this is how many kids we have, this is when we want you to deliver the peas, maybe we could ask them, would you like a farmer to talk to your class And we might get a lot of requests. I don't know how available you all will be, but we could make that an option if you're good with that. If we knew that there's enough of you that might be willing to come. And then you could even deliver, you know, and then when you deliver, you could say hi to the kids and like talk to them a little bit. We'll just have to see with COVID safety. That might be later in the year. So I think I'm hearing that there's a lot of interest in the peas again, which the kids loved. Cherry tomatoes possibly, again, the kids like that one, and the carrots. And we have all those activity guides made. We have all those stickers made. And then I'm also hearing that like sweet potatoes and cucumbers could be something else that we try. Marty and I went to a school and the teacher's like, can you offer us a vegetable every month? And in the winter, that was just really hard to like think of like what could we get kids to eat in the winter? Because we are trying to go more raw vegetables, but we will do some cooked, I think, this year. Like the sweet potatoes, you know, we'd have to think of. And then we just have to secure funding. So if we get new crops, we have to like hire the graphic designer to come up with the sticker and the activity pages. And so we have to just figure out, can we fundraise, you know, to get some of that designed. But
you know, some of the things I wonder too with storage crops, like radishes or like a watermelon radish or something, you can hold those until December and they're like totally fine, you know, or sweet potatoes too could go until November if we knew to save them, that kind of thing. Like we could just really plan ahead. Carrots even, you know, can last all the way till January.
Yeah,
so I think we could get creative and kind of do those storage crops.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there are options for the winter. It's for us, it's almost about planning ahead because, you know, I grow a lot of sweet potatoes and then I sell them all within a month. You know, I could be saving those for 4 or 5 months if I had more. Yeah, same thing with carrots, winter squash. I mean, even garlic lasts to, you know, January. I have a variety of garlic that I'm still eating right now. So
yeah, same here.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, garlic would be interesting. I love powdered garlic, you know, where you sprinkle it on to flavor your food. I don't know how kids would react to garlic. And I was thinking about Justin being the onion man, and I'm like, can we get kids into onions?
What about raw garlic and raw onions?
Or
oh my gosh.
hey man, just saute them. They're awesome caramelized.
Yeah, that's true. When my daughter would get sick, I would make her eat a clove of crushed garlic and she'd be so mad at me, and I'd make her eat a spoonful and she'd be like, no, but it's a great antibacterial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue this conversation next week at the farmer gathering next Monday. We'll be outdoors at the Gutierrez Hubble House. We'll have great food. We have really cool prizes. We're going to try to make it COVID safe as possible. We have free KN95 masks for all of you. We'll space the chairs. We've got rapid tests. But we can keep talking more there. But we did want to have like a first conversation today. And we wanted to give Marty a chance to check in with you all as well. Yeah. It's a smaller group. So this has been really helpful. Is this a good place to kind of transition over to evaluation? I mean, this has been helpful for us to hear what you're interested in and to brainstorm.
Yeah, and I've been taking notes too, because I think a lot of what we've been talking about dovetails within the questions that I was going to ask as well. So just to give you all just a little bit of an overview of what this is, one of the necessary things that the Kellogg Foundation requires of projects that receive funding is that they do have an outside evaluator come in and look at the project. And that just is about telling the story of the project, essentially. So I'm going to be asking you questions to help tell the story of what they've been doing and working on. And then if you have any suggestions for improvement, love to hear those as well. And you've already provided quite a few interesting ideas, and we're gonna, look at those and talk about those. So I just have a few questions. I'm gonna keep us within the hour, but I would just, anybody who has an answer to these or wants to say something, love to hear from you. It helps the project improve, helps keep the funding going, basically. Showing the results of everything that they've been working on. So first of all, I'd like to hear from you about how you got involved in the Farm to ECE project, and tell me a little bit about what you've done. So anybody can start.
I can start.
Okay.
I started with a program at the Gutierrez Hubble House called Grow the Growers. and ended up meeting a lot of these people that way, a lot of the other farmers down in the South Valley, and ended up running into CIDA at one of the farmer gatherings. They were having the AFSC farmer gathering, and that's when I came upon the Great Carrot Crunch, and just really became interested in helping educate kids on where the food comes from. You know, like they say, know your farmer. So that way, you know where your food comes from, you know how it's grown, you know what's in it. So that really hit home with me, especially I had done pest control. I had worked at a junkyard, seeing all these ways that these chemicals are being put into the soil, and I was one of the people doing it. So I kind of felt in my heart that this was a good path and direction for my life and my wife and my son, so we could make ourselves healthy and then help other people out in the process. And then helping educate children on where their food comes from, because like Saida said, a lot of kids have no idea what a carrot looks like before it's been shaved down and washed with all kinds of stuff and then put in a bag. And you're like, okay, so they just get this off a shelf in a warehouse? No, it's actually comes out of the earth and it's grown. Takes a long time sometimes, takes a short time sometimes. But yeah, just educating them on how, as farmers, we're just in communion with the planet and nurturing and bringing all of this to each other, helping each other out, and more community based is what I really am seeing with this program. It helps the community to connect on a different level that sometimes we don't get nowadays with all of our high-tech world.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Talk about just how you got involved, how you heard about it, what was helpful to you.
Anyone? Anyone?
Anyone?
Yeah,
Bueller?
I'll say a little something.
Thank you, Justin.
Hi, Justin here. Hey, Miss Pueblo, Walatoa. Man, we've been working with AFSC for quite a while, for some years up here in Jemez. They've helped us establish a few hoop houses here in the Pueblo. And I first met him through a couple of my friends and my cousin, yeah, it was something like that. And we just kind of clicked right away from the beginning, and we had a mutual understanding, and you know, just wanting to do the same things. Our paths just kind of crossed. So within that, the helping to establish these hoop houses in the community, we just grown really close, and it's like a friendship, you know what I mean? It's not just like business, it's like a friendship with AFSC, and we've built these relationships over the years. And now doing this kind of work with them still just goes to show how much they're willing to help and support the communities they're involved with. And everything's really been great up to now. They've really been understanding, patient. You know, everybody has their ups and downs, and they've always been patient with us. Not everything goes as planned, so we have to like improvise, modify, and make things work. And they've always been there supporting us each step of the way. And I really appreciate that, because not all places would do that. So that also shows, you know, their character and who they are, with everybody that's been there and who's also there now. Because you know, it's just great to have people that you can count on and depend on, and AFSC is that, you know. So you know, whenever they ask me to help them, I'm all in every single time. It's a no-brainer. I don't even think about it. I just, you know, like it just goes to show the respect I have for them, and I really enjoy the relationship we've had with AFSC. And yeah, and then we just growing all this food up here. It's just, you know, as long as I hold up to my part with the vegetables, then, you know, these relationships, it's easy to do because it's exchange of this for that, and we keep it moving. So it's a good partnership, you know, all around. So
Awesome.
great stuff.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
So let me ask too. This is something that Ruben talked about a little bit, but I'd like to hear from others too. What got you involved in farming, and then do you see any connections between your goals as a farmer and the goals of the Farm to ECE project?
Oh, I would love to speak to this. So I got into agriculture with the Southwest Organizing Project originally, wanting to try to increase food access in food deserts. And I grew up in a food desert in Deming and went to Head Start and everything. And through my long relationship with AFSC, am able to, I feel like, more fully live my ethic. Like the first year that the Farm to Food Bank program started, and then the ECE program, it has been incredible to be able to know that why I started growing food, which was to feed young people and my actual neighbors and everything, is actually able to happen. And it really has increased the access of the food we're growing into the places and into the spaces of the community that I have always wanted it to. And it's hard to kind of know how to build those relationships as a grower. So it's been really amazing to have AFSC building those relationships and being that intermediary and that connector. That really, I'm like, wow, I'd love to just only farm for these programs. That would be like a literal dream come true, you know, because that's like, I never ate a fresh fruit or vegetable until I was well into my 20s when I was finally started growing them. And I was a box and can kid growing up, you know, just whatever we kind of got. And to know that young people and people, you know, like my family and stuff and like our community members are actually eating the food and learning about it, that's just so transformative. It's changed my life. I'm so grateful to be able to share that with others now too, thanks to these programs.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Casey.
Yeah, I want to second that. I mean, I think Casey said a lot of what I would have said already, but, you know, I'm pretty sure that none of us are in this for the money when we go into farming. You know, we go in for these higher callings of trying to provide fresh food to our communities, and especially to those who don't have it, those who need it most, you know, and yeah, and I think because of the financial considerations, we often sell, you know, we sell to whoever is willing to pay the price that will support us. And so it's really amazing to be connected with AFSC that's doing all these programs that, you know, connects us directly to the communities that we want to serve and supports us in our work, you know, in order to be able to provide this food to those who need it most. And you know, this is one of the initiatives that I've been involved in with AFSC, trying to get, you know, the produce that I grow straight to those who need it most in our local community. And so I think, like Justin said, almost any time when they reach out, I try to participate, because I've really seen how effective their campaigns are in the past, and just like how directly it gets to the people who need it.
Yeah, that, and I'd like to emphasize the importance of eating the food that's grown in your local environment, because we're receiving these local microbes, the local bacteria, the local nutrients that are available to us in our areas that we're growing. And it's so important for our bodies to have something that's grown here versus, you know, it's shipped in from Chile or somewhere else. And that support for these local farmers as well. Like, what were they saying? 90% of the food farmed in New Mexico is exported, and that's insane.
Mhm.
And then 1% of the food that's grown is fruit and vegetables for human consumption. It's just incredible. So how can we get more people aware of how to eat their own food, how to eat locally, how to eat seasonally? You know, if we can keep ourselves out of the hospital by eating our fresh grown food, or, you know, our families as well. Because as we started doing is making food for the parents. Like once a month, we'll do something healthy, home cooked meal just to introduce them to that. And also like the ritual of preparing the food and cooking it together as a family, I think is real important. So yeah, all those community aspects of bringing us together as a family, as friends, I think AFC is doing a great job of helping promote that and being open to bringing that to our community.
So great. So then I'd also like to ask if you have any suggestions for improving the program. We've already talked given a lot of great suggestions for other vegetables that might be a possibility. Some other, ways of, selling foods and, programs that you may be involved in and things like that. So I've got notes on those, but do you have any other ideas or suggestions?
Well, right now, me and my wife are looking at, we have been talking with Bernalillo County in appropriating some just open plots of land down here. Like down in the South Valley, there's a ton of just spots where it's fenced in. It's just growing, nothing's going on there, trash, whatever. And we've been talking to them about our interesting point of view is to beautify it. For the county, that's something that they'll look good, the city looks good, and they can say, yeah, we were part of that. But also in the process, helping develop these little nucleuses of ecosystems and building up the plants around the area. It's what I'm calling it is a rain generator, because the more plants you have, the more it pulls the water in. So turning these spots into these flourishing, thriving areas of plant community, doing community farming there, incorporating the local flora and fauna, helping keep these native species going, and creating these areas in which people can go and learn. We want to teach people how to grow their own food through these areas, community farm through the areas. But our first step is to get them developed, bring in grasses, perennials, everything that's going to help this area develop, and, educate the people as to, having more of these areas. It's going to keep the bugs out of your yard. It'll keep the animals out of your yard, the wandering animals. And then this way, we're not excluding everything by just building and developing the areas. So that's what we've been working on. And I think I would like to see if AFSC could provide us some support in either finding spots that are available, or seed or some kind of funding to get this established in our city, or in other cities for that matter.
Okay. Great. And then I could also see this being,
yeah,
go ahead, Casey.
Oh, I was just gonna say some things I would like to do is like provide more produce to more schools, like
Yeah.
Cida's mentioned that the quantities are a little small, and I'll do 5 peas if I have to. I don't care. I'm feeding those kids. But it would be amazing if it was a more regular, monthly or however we can figure it out through the school year, connection opportunity. And maybe it's not just preschools, maybe it's like, child care centers, or maybe it's first grades, you know, like how do we kind of get more young people involved and are then also simultaneously able to provide.
Yeah, expand the reach of the
Mhm.
program. Because yeah, Casey, I was thinking like even the university. My partner, her brother is a cook and he works at a university up in Maine. So now he's like one of the head cooks for this university's cafeteria, and like he prepares all kinds of like upper scale food for these university students. And I'm thinking, okay, could we expand into maybe UNM or CNM, or you know, what would it take to reach that? Like a sampler, or you know, something to just get everybody on board with what we're doing here. Oh, interesting.
Lots of great ideas. I love it. All right. So I think we're just a little bit beyond time, but does anybody have anything else that they'd like to share about the project, the program, anything that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, much gratitude to the Kellogg Foundation for taking an interest in this, you know, because it's always been my interesting point of view was like they weren't concerned with the smaller farmer. It's like, okay, how much, you know, cornflakes can we make or whatever, you know, because it's the uneducation on my part of knowing exactly what the foundation does. So yeah, I'm very grateful for you guys to come and, you know, be a part of this and come and, you know, give us your input, give us your support. Appreciate it.
And in all transparency, I'm not connected with the Kellogg Foundation. I'm an independent contractor, and AFSC found us in Albuquerque, and so we come in and we evaluate lots of programs. I work actually a lot with state departments of education and doing that kind of thing. But I think that, you know, in general, the idea that, you know, they are interested in seeing what the project does and are interested in funding these some smaller projects to see, you know, how we can get something like this off the ground, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Syra, did you have anything else?
Well, thanks everybody for sharing. I wasn't sure if I wanted people to speak freely. You guys can criticize us. It's helped us. But thank you for the beautiful statements of support. Yeah, Marty's report will go to the Kellogg Foundation, and then we always give it to you all as well. So at the end of our projects, we like you all to hear what the evaluator found. And then, yeah, he'll tell Kellogg how it went, how the money was used. So yeah, we'll wrap up now. This was really helpful. So here's what I'm hearing for our next steps as AFSC. We're going to circle back to you to check in about dates for doing, I believe, peas, carrots, and cherry tomatoes. That's all set. We're going to circle back to you about the idea of incorporating some new vegetables, and we'll talk about this hopefully next week at the farmer gathering with more farmers about the idea of maybe trying cucumber, sweet potatoes, or more. I also hear as a next step that we could look at doing some winter produce by just storing stuff that you all harvest in the fall and seeing if we can keep that for some of the winter months for the preschools. So that could be a possibility. I really like that idea. We need to keep doing some fundraising to cover things. I'll be circling back to Debbie Lopez, who's like the nutritionist that's kind of high up in the state, to figure out how can we get this on the menu, your food, more regularly with the price point that you need. And like, how could we aggregate that? So that's like our big goal this year, is like how to move beyond healthy food campaigns. And I'm hearing that as your feedback too, that you'd like to see it expanded so that it's like more often you're getting sales to the preschools. And then the big next step is that we want to see you in person next week for our abbreviated farmer gathering. It's not going to be as big as most of our gatherings. It'll be about 20 folks, and it'll be, instead of a day and a half, it'll be like just, 6 hours or so, 7 hours. We've got a really nice lunch planned. We'll have coffee and pastries in the morning, and we'll be outside. We're even going to rent some heaters, those like propane heaters, so in the morning you guys won't be freezing if it's cold. So I'm hoping to see you all there so we can keep talking about working with you this year and what your ideas are and how to support you. Angelina, is there anything else we should share in terms of next steps?
No, we look forward to seeing all of you. It'll be great to be in person and outdoors. So thank
I
you.
hope we're coming out of this pandemic, because it would be great to have you guys in the classrooms with the little kids if we can do that safely this
Yeah.
week. So, yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for spending this hour with us and all of your awesome ideas.
Oh,
Sweet.
thank you. Thank you.
All right then.